Hello, my friends. Thanks once again for joining us right here on Kardec Radio. You are with us here 7 p.m. every Wednesday. Spiritism, a closer look. And we are going to continue from where we left last week. We are doing sessions of questions and answers. Those are questions that we receive throughout the presentation, sometimes by email. And we would like to address them. So let's do a few more questions today. Let's see what they are. Very interesting. Here we go. We got a first question here. How come some people are so evil that they don't even realize it? Okay, so the question, just to make sure we all understand it, the question is about people being what we call evil, and they don't have a clue. They don't realize it. So what can Spiritism tells us about that, right? So I'm going to start by saying that all of us, by living in a planet of trials and expiations, that's what Earth is for. Earth is one of the planets for spirits undergoing trials and expiations. Trials and expiations means it means we have to somehow offset the wrongdoings of the past somehow. Trials are, what's going to make us better. Those are things we need to go through to be better people. So the Earth is a planet for spirits, incarnated and discarnated, undergoing trials and expiations. These spirits, us, they are all living here, but they are in different levels of morality. The level of moral and intellectual advancement of these spirits, living on Earth, they're not the same. It's not uniform. It's not consistent, if you will. So that creates, an interesting mix, because some of the spirits are much more advanced than others. What we call evil in, regular words, usually in Spiritism, we don't like to use the word evil. We do because it's a word in the English language, but it needs to be well understood. What we call evil are actually spirits at the bottom of the scale, the spirit scale. Spirit scale categorizes spirits from the lowest level of evolution all the way up to the highest. Evil spirits are those living in towards the bottom of the scale. So these spirits in the bottom of the scale, they have not yet learned enough about morality. For their level of evolution, they think everything is about them. They don't. Their radar does not pick up anything that has to do with higher moral standards. These low water spirits, they place their references on themselves. That's what makes them, stay for quite a long time in the bottom of the scale. If you placed any reference on yourself, nothing else matters. You're supposedly the one who, set the rules and do everything. So those spirits in the bottom of the scale, they do not acknowledge, or they don't, even better, they don't even recognize an absolute or superior reference. So when it comes to morality, for example, there's a moral of reference that Spiritism teaches us that was brought to us by Jesus. So Jesus brought the moral of reference for these evil spirits, the low order spirits. They don't see that thing. They do not recognize that. The reference for them is themselves. So I am my own reference, and everybody should follow me because I'm the one who establishes all those references. And that's obviously a big mistake. And, you know, people like this, they will suffer a lot because what their reality that they are creating for themselves does not exist. They are low water spirits pretending to be above God. And obviously, there's going to be a point where you know their reality is just going to dismantle and disappear. So spirits in the low order spirits are those who are very in the very beginning of the moral scale. The lower they are, the more they use themselves as a reference, so they don't realize they are evil, meaning they are low order spirits doing bad things, playing evil all the time, you know, creating trouble all the time. They don't realize that. They don't see that. It's just out of their radar. So in this group, in this low order spirits creating all of this, we're going to find, for example, those who suffer from NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, where they think they are the absolute truth, they are the absolute God, the one and only, and you know, they live their life by that standard, which obviously is not true. So they create their own reality completely set apart from the actual reality. They, at one point, of obviously, they're gonna get better. They're gonna improve their moral standards, and they will, you know, just like all of us. We were there one day, so just like all of us, they will set their pace on the right track. One thing that they do not perceive, and that's why they don't realize what they are, is accountability. They do not understand accountability. Anything that we do, any wrongdoings that we did in the past are going to have to be offset somehow in this life, maybe in the next life, but all of us, all of our wrongdoings are going to have to be offset. That's called accountability. For those spirits, low water spirits, NPD spirits, they don't see that. So there's no accountability. They just keep doing and doing, keep going and going. And obviously they're going to have to offset. But that's the reason why they don't see they are a problem, because they do not understand accountability. Again, they have not yet learned enough about morality to be able to pick up the idea. All right, so we got another question here, which is, how can Spiritism explain that the world is going from bad to worse? Well, we get this question a lot. That's a common question for us. Well, first of all, there's whoever is asking the question, it kind of, there's an affirmation here that the world is going from bad to worse. And they're asking, how can Spiritism explain? But there's an affirmation here that the world is going from bad to worse. So the first question is it? Is it really? Let's look at this from the Spiritist point of view. We are, planet Earth houses about 25 billion spirits, of which 8 billion approximate are incarnated. So we have 25 billion total, 8 billion incarnated. And again, picking up from the last question, all of us living here in different levels. Some are more advanced, some are less advanced, but we are all mixed up trying to get by, trying to learn and just, you know, improve ourselves, improve our morality. But we are 8 billion incarnated, 25 billion total. The laws that we have try to address the situation in which those 8 billion, right, the laws that we have are laws written by man. So it's not for the 25 billion, it's for the 8 billion. The laws that we have, in principle, they try to, uh, uh, make people sustain the moral values. Not necessarily, but that's the whole idea about writing laws, so people can sustain the moral values that we were given centuries ago. First by Moses, then Jesus. So, the law changes. Our laws in any country, city, state, province, it changes because the world changes. So some of the laws that we had, let's say, for example, 1,000 years ago, they do not apply today. This doesn't make sense because that situation has been understood by all, and it just disappeared. We don't do that anymore. That we used to do 1,000 years ago. Same 500 years ago. Same 200 years ago. Now, what happens is the discarnate spirits are part of the psychic atmosphere of the planet. They have influence on the psychic atmosphere of the planet, also called psychosphere. Now, the idea that we have that things are not good or bad is because the psychosphere isn't good overall. The psychosphere, again, is made up from the personal psychic atmosphere of each one of the 25 billion spirits. So right now we have a feeling that things are not good. And the question is, it's going from bad to worse, is it? Think about this. The planet evolves. Life evolves. We are getting better. We will get better because that's the law. That's natural law. We are all bound to perfection. So we will be perfect one day. So things are going to improve. Now, when that happens, the spirits that do not follow it, they're going to be kind of like left behind. It's more or less like this. Let's say you are invited to a party, and you go to the party, you walk in, and you look around, and you don't feel like you're blending in. After a few minutes, you say, I don't belong here, I'm just going to go. For whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. But that's the situation. The person feels that they don't belong there. As we improve as a whole, the low order spirits are going to start feeling that they don't belong. Right? For those spirits to leave the party, they have first to incarnate. They will fail, and then they're going to go someplace else, to another planet, to another orb. But they have to incarnate first. So we have these, say, 13 billion spirits waiting to incarnate, in line for incarnation. And they are the ones with this heavy psychic atmosphere. They have this heavy psychosphere. As these spirits incarnate, because everybody has the right to incarnate, all of us, we all have an opportunity for it. As they incarnate, what was not visible before, the evil that was not visible before because they were discarnated, now becomes more visible because they're incarnated. So certain things we couldn't see. the evil actions they were doing, because it was all psychic. It was not visible through the eyes. I couldn't hear, I couldn't smell. So the five senses that we have would not pick up these evil actions that they were doing while discarnated. When these spirits incarnate, they're still the same spirit. They just got a body now, but they're doing the same thing. They're acting the same way. They are still, performing these evil actions, and now it becomes visible. So what we have now is more visibility inside the evil actions of the planets, of the inhabitants of the planets, that we didn't have before. That gives us a general impression that things are worse now than they were before. Maybe visually, maybe, from the material life point of view, the physical life point of view, maybe yes, but not overall, because the spirits who cannot, those on the low end of the scale, low order spirits, they will be, they will leave the party. They are going to have to go somewhere else. So that's the beauty of Spiritism, because the question is, how can Spiritism explain? So that's the beauty of Spiritism. Through the knowledge that Spiritism gives us, right, we are able to understand things, and this, it's a general idea of consolation. Oh, now I understand, now I'm okay. It doesn't mean that I agree with the evil that they do and any of that, but now I understand. It kind of makes sense. Spiritism is very logical. Actually, Spiritism is born out of logic. It's just a philosophy, so there's logic behind it. So that kind of situation that a lot of us on Earth think things are going worse. It's not really that they're going worse. It's that we are looking up more of that we could not see before. Now we can. It's like something was hidden. Now you lift the veil, then it shows. Now you see it. And you're going to say, well, he wasn't there before. He was there. It was just hidden somehow. Okay? But we do that kind of question a lot. Let's go for another question, third of today's program. It's about happiness. So here's the question. There's an affirmation and a question. Happiness seems to be unreachable for most people. What does Spiritism recommend to reach happiness? So this affirmation that happiness seems to be unreachable for most people, it is a general feeling. It is a general idea, unfortunately. And the question is, what does Spiritism recommend for us to get there? So we go back to the same thing, the moral standards, the level of moral advancement that we are in. Due to that low level of moral advancement, very low level, I would say, happiness becomes relative. For example, let's just say that when you were a kid, say 5, 6 years old, at Christmas time, having a nice, colorful, Christmas tree, that was all you needed. That was all you wanted. That would make you happy. That was just enough to make you happy. Just have a nice, tall Christmas tree. That's it. As a kid. When you grow up, a nice Christmas tree is not enough. It might be for 3 years, maybe 4 years. But there's a point where you get past that. And a nice, tall Christmas tree no longer makes you happy. And It doesn't bring you the feeling, oh, that's all I wanted. It's not enough anymore. So happiness was a relative concept at the time. It does not apply today. If I give you today a nice, colorful, tall Christmas tree, it doesn't even get close to make you maybe not even smile, let alone make you happy. So, these situations, they're all relative. For some people, still today, unfortunately, for some people, to have food on their plate will make him happy. That's it. That's it. Food on the plate for a day, that will make him happy. Nothing else matters. So it is relative. Having food on their plate or having food on the plate for others doesn't make him happy. It's just routine. So that shows how happiness can be relative. So if we have a mix of low order spirits and mid and higher order spirits living all together on the same planet, happiness cannot be the same that like a one size fits all. A nice Christmas tree is not enough to make all of us, 8 billion incarnated, 25 billion altogether, happy. It will make some happy, some kids, but not all of them. Same for having food on the plate. It will make a lot of people happy in places where starvation is unfortunately still reality. But for others, it might not even matter, depending on how they see it. So the level of moral advancement of the spirit is a key to understand is the lower the moral advancement of the spirit, the more happiness is bound to material things. As we go up on the scale, the spirit scale, our tendency is to, put the focus on the spirit life, the life as a spirit, on what we need as a soul, as a spirit, and less important material things will become. So there's going to be a point where we are going to be bound a lot more to the spiritual life than to the material life. And when we get to that point, there's, this inflection point where you change from one type to another reality. That's when we realize that happiness is a byproduct of making other people happy. You make other people happy, you're happy. Here's an example, a very simple example. Let's say you have a 3, 4, maybe 5-year-old kid, and you want to take your kid out to the park so he can play with the friends and other kids. So what you do is you take your kid to the park, and there's other bunch of kids in there. They're all gonna play. They're gonna be screaming and raising their hands and playing with water, whatever it is. Meanwhile, the parents mostly are like sitting on benches, just looking from outside. You're not really participating on that because that's for them, the kids. So we are looking at that from a short distance, but we are not really part of it. And then you see your kid all happy, smiling like that, big smiling, throwing his hands up and screaming and so all of that. They're all happy. And you look at that for, let's say, 1 minute. Just 1 minute. During that 1 minute. There is no bad neighbor. There is no stubborn family member. There are no bills to pay. There is not a nasty boss. Nothing like this occurs within that 1 minute that you're looking at your kid totally happy as a kid. That makes him happy. Having the opportunity to play, to go out to the park and all of that with other kids, that makes him or her happy. And you're looking at it. And it's your son, your daughter. So you are completely happy. Why are you so happy if you're not participating? You're sitting at the bench. Why? Because you're making your kid happy. Happy like crazy. Happiness is a byproduct of making other people happy. We can be qualified. We can qualify ourselves to earn happiness by helping other people, by making other people happy. Think about this. We are almost experts in suffering because of the level that we are in the planet that we live in, which is, by the way, suitable for our needs. So we are experts in suffering. Now, let's say, for example, that you go to a doctor and you receive a diagnostic of some complicated disease or illness. And you have to situate yourself within the parameters that you were given. And let's just say that you're going to be in treatment and so and so and so. And then after, let's just say, 6 months of being treated, with medicine, therapy, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. After 6 months of being treated, you know of somebody, maybe a friend of a friend, maybe a neighbor, that has received the same diagnostic that you did 6 months ago. Wouldn't you feel in the position to comfort this person by saying to yourself, oh, I know what that person is going through right now, and I know what that person is going to go through in 10 days, in 2 months, in 4 months, because you became an expert in that. You've lived through it. So if you decide to take part of your time to help that person, let's say a 15-minute talk with that person. That's it. 15 minutes. Sit down. Let's talk. That's it. You're going to feel that you're making that person happy. You're sustaining some sort of level of happiness for that person. And then you leave and you say, wow, in the past 15 minutes, I forgot my condition. I forgot I was being treated for this and that. I forgot I had to, go through all of this. Why did you forget it during those 15 minutes? It's not because your brain went dead. No. It's because you were making somebody else happy. Though, or thus, you were happy for 15 minutes. And when you're happy for 15 minutes, during those 15 minutes, there is no disease, no bad neighbor, no nasty boss, no bills to pay, nothing like this. You're just plain simply happy. We were able to do 3 questions today on our questions and answers program. We are going to continue in the upcoming weeks. We have a lot of questions that we receive from different sources in our talks and so on. Thank you very much for participating with us tonight. And don't forget, right here on Kardec Radio, Spiritism, a closer look. We do this live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for being with us tonight, and I'll see you next time. Be well.